morning from Villafranca del Bierzo. Leaving this morning to go into one of the most challenging stages in the Camino, which is the arrival to O Cebreiro, and that's the entrance to Galicia. It's bittersweet for me to have to give up the trail by foot to take a car, since once you get in the groove of doing the walk, it's really energizing, not just because of you really living the Camino, but also because of the relationships and the contacts and the conversations you have with people that are walking along the way. But at the beginning of this journey, I knew that I would have a lot of limitations because of my condition, and I made the choice not to let those limitations stop me from enjoying the Camino. So I have choices, and the choice that I have is to use a car to take me up the mountain, and that's what I'm gonna do. I'm bypassing the walk today to get to O Cebreiro, and once I'm up in the mountain, I will walk around. But for now, that's the way the cookie crumbles. Stay with me. In this portion of the Camino, there is no special trail, so the peregrinos have to sort of battle it on their own, walking through the sides of the road. The Camino along here has a special lane on the left, so you are walking basically along this highway almost every step of the way until you get to the first town. So not a very pleasant part of the walk. Entering Pereje, one of the towns along the Camino. Let's see what we find. Very picturesque town. It's called Pereje. Still not a lot of peregrino action, probably because it's a little bit later than normal. Peregrinos start to leave their albergues and hostels by 6:30 or 7, and now we are approaching like 10 a.m. So most peregrinos probably already passed through here. As we leave Pereje, once again the peregrino road is on the side of the main road. The original Camino was not along here, was more in the mountains, and there's definitely an alternative to do the Camino through the mountains, but they have changed the route of the Camino to give the little towns along the way more business from the peregrino community. Entering Taravelo, another one of the small towns in the Camino. And again, as we enter the towns, you leave the main road and you approach the town through their auxiliary roadway. Here's actually entering the town of Travadelo. Some cafes that are open primarily to help the peregrinos make a stop, have a cafecito, have a juice. Certainly if I was walking, I would for sure be having my Aquarius by now. But I thank God that I have the opportunity to at least do this portion of the Camino riding in a comfortable car and giving my joints a little break today. It's beautiful to see older ladies and men being so active in Spain and climbing these roadways as if it was not impacting them at all. There's a lot of peregrina activity here. Again, these are the folks that left Villafranca del Bierzo at around 6:37 in the morning. It's now 10:15, so they're already approaching the end of their second town. We're entering another town in Camino O Cebreiro, Ambas Mestas. These are very, very small towns. That again, the Camino was rerouted so that it would cut through the towns and to bring a little business to these very, very small communities. The church in Ambas Mestas, hopefully it's open. Let me check it out. Here we're entering Vega de Valcarce, another one of the towns en route to O Cebreiro. There's a little bit more color on this town, but it's tiny, tiny, tiny as well. Another part of Vega de Valcarce, and again, no church. Once upon a time, every little town had a church, although I think I see a church in the vicinity, so let's hope that that one is open. This is the parroquia of Valcarce, and lo and behold, it is open, so let me go in. Very small church. It has a nice retablo. And here, welcoming peregrinos is Santiago de Compostela, Sir James. Entering Las Herrerías. This is the last town before doing the major climb to O Cebreiro. And some peregrinos choose to do it in horse, do like a horseback riding type of thing. Let's see if by chance we can catch a glimpse of that. I asked the driver to follow precisely the route of the Camino so that I would be able to capture it on video and at least think about doing this stage at another point in my life when I feel even more recovered and stronger. With God's grace, I hope to be able to do that, but today I give thanks and I'm grateful that I'm seeing this part of Spain and this part of the Camino without adding strain to my body. Little livestock here by the side of the road. Very cute. Again, this is the last town. Las Herrerías is the last town in the Camino Francés that you go through before approaching the big hike to O Cebreiro. And again, my hats off to those who do the hike on foot, but it's supposed to be one of the most stressful parts of the Camino, second to Cruz de Fierro. Here we start to climb, as they call here, mild hills. I call it Major League Mountains. But this is the route of the Camino. And we're approaching the next town, which is called La Fava, which is it's considered already part of the hike to O Cebreiro. As I sit in the car, I'm starting to already feel pressure in my ears. We're getting up in altitude, and again, this is not anywhere close to O Cebreiro still. So kudos to the peregrinos that do this on foot. Really, it's my hat's off to them. Reminder for people who are watching this that even though people in their later stages of life, like myself, attempt to do this, the best way to do the Camino is when you're young and vibrant, because your energy level is at its highest then.
La Fava.
This is the entrance to La Fava, and the marker here is 165 kilometers, 165 kilometers. When we started, we were at 330. So again, making a lot of progress. Here are some peregrinos and two that are taking a little break on the side of the road. We're entering La Fava, which is a midpoint town between Las Herrerías and O Cebreiro. We're gonna take a quick peek at this town, which is seen as like the last oasis before getting to O Cebreiro for those who are doing this by foot. The sign there says 4 kilometers to O Cebreiro from this point in La Fava. I have seen this little cafe on many videos, which is a great stop for people who are doing the climb by foot. As the driver makes room for another car, we're at the very edge of this narrow road. Oh my goodness. Here you see two roads. The one higher one is the one we're riding on. The one a little bit lower but with the same incline is the actual Camino. That's the road or the trailway that people by foot will take. And we are way high up here. Approximately 1,100 meters in altitude here. This is called Alto de O Cebreiro, and the view is spectacular. Definitely not going to be captured on the video, but nature greeting us, and I'm so grateful to be here, even though I am not walking this segment of the Camino. I'm still blessed to be able to live it, and to be able to be approaching Galicia, which is the birth of Los Membielas. So very significant and emotional. Entering O Cebreiro. And the O Cebreiro Cruzeiro. O Cebreiro is 159.8 8 kilometers to Santiago, and it's a very picturesque town. Let me explore the mountains a little bit, and then I'll do a little video of the town. This is the view from O Cebreiro at I think it's 1,130 meters of altitude. This is a landmark of this lady, Galician lady, sitting at the top of the hill, and what you see on the right, and not sure if the video captures it, is the incline, and that's the Camino road. That's the pathway that those doing the escalation on foot use to arrive at O Cebreiro. These are called payosas and are typical constructions here in Galicia, made out of stone and branches on the ceiling. And this is La Parroquia in O Cebreiro. It looks like it's open, and finally I'm going to have some hopefully quiet time to do my morning prayers. Another gift of the Camino, arriving at the church in O Cebreiro in time to participate in Mass. Biblias en varios idiomas aquí en la iglesia de O Cebreiro. La iglesia La Santa María la Real de Cebreiro. El ahora la copa del bautizo. This is my casa rural, Maison Anton. Let's see what I experience here. In a few minutes I'll also share some of my observations. This is the menu for Maison Anton. Caldo gallego, pulpo a la feira, lacón cocido, churrasco de ternera, tortilla española, empanada gallega. All of these things remind me of the Membiela family, both in Cuba and our primos in La Coruña. When in Galicia, we have to have caldo gallego, Membi en tu nombre. Now my segundo plato es empanada gallega de atún. And all around me, these men are speaking in gallego. So I can barely understand what they're talking about. But I will enjoy my empanada nonetheless. Dessert is queso de cabra from O Cebreiro with miel, with honey. This little cabin will be home tonight in O Cebreiro. It's a small room, cabin-like, on the second floor of Maison Anton. I have my ventanita to see out to the O Cebreiro area. It's a bathroom. This has been recently refinished. Very cute, very tiny, but very modern. Nice shower. A little bit of Galicia. Hello again from O Cebreiro. I think I mentioned earlier that this is the first Galician town in the Camino. So it has a lot of significance for people who do the Camino to arrive here. Aside from the fact that it's a very challenging ascent to arrive at O Cebreiro. And it's very picturesque, very touristy town, small town. So once I was past the initial excitement of arriving in O Cebreiro, even though I didn't walk up, I was really looking forward to entering Galicia because of the fact that we are Gallegos, right? So my initial impression was that this was like the Disney World of El Camino. So I was a little bit turned off and even second guess whether I wanted to stay here tonight or not. Fast forward 10 minutes, 15 minutes walking around, and I heard the church bells. And I walked towards the sound of the bells, only to realize that not only had I found that the church was open, something that is a luxury in Spain these days, definitely has been so far for me along the Camino. Most churches are not open. So not only was I happy that the church was open, but that Mass was about to start. This is Sunday, so it was Sunday Mass. So I was, really, really happy about that. And when the Mass started, I was even happier and touched because of the fact that this was a misa cantada. And it reminded me of the days of our childhood when we would go to misa with mommy, and that was not negotiable. Every Sunday you had to go to misa, and the masses were very traditional, very much so like the mass that I participated in today. So that filled my heart with joy, filled my heart with great memories. I felt once again the presence of mommy singing along the mass, and drastically changed my impression of O Cebreiro from I'm not sure I want to stay here, to a place where all of a sudden I belong. That was complemented by the fact that I had lunch at Café Anton, or Maison Anton, I should say, where I'll be staying. And my first plato was caldo gallego, and my second plato was empanada gallega de bonito, de atún. Both dishes would have been Membi's favorites. So here I am, blending in O Cebreiro, reconnecting with my Gallego roots, and once again giving thanks and being eternally grateful for the opportunity to be here, despite the fact that I wasn't able to make it on foot like I would have wanted, but grateful nonetheless. And let's see what happens next. This Camino continues to bring gifts, and And those gifts are the ones I share in these videos because I want to capture them, not just for me, but for my family and friends as well. Have a good Sunday from O Cebreiro. Pues cuando estamos en España hay que hacer como los españoles, chorizo y patatas fritas. Yummy, yummy.